Saturday morning, November 11th, 2023. Best baseball player, 1893. Ed Delahanty. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Who was he? Played from 1888 to 1903, 16 years. Had 7,510 at-bats. And collected 2,597 hits. I want to point out something here. You may not know it. Ed Delahanty played 1,837 games and had 2,597 hits. That is an average of 1.41 hits per game played. And that is the best among all Major League Baseball players in the history of baseball. Did you know that? I looked it up. Find me someone else who has a better hits per game average. Obviously, you need a minimum amount of at-bats to qualify. You can't just have 100 at-bats or 1,000 at-bats or even 3,000, even 5,000. I would say you'd need to have about at least 7,500, and that is what Ed Delahanty had. 1.41 hits per game played. And for the year 1893, he was the best baseball player that year. He won 4 categories out of 13 that I've distinguished. Batting average, hits, home runs, triples, doubles, singles, RBIs, runs scored, slugging on base, base on balls, stolen bases, and total bases. 13 categories. Ed Delahanty won 4 of them. 1893, he had the most home runs, 19. He had the most runs batted in, 146. He had the highest slugging percentage, 583. He had the most total bases, 347. 4 categories. Billy Hamilton won the batting title that year, 380. What did Delahanty do in 1893? Played 132 games and had 219 hits. He had 19 home runs, 146 RBIs, and batted .368. Struck out 20 times in over 595 at-bats. 20 strikeouts. Did you know he has a career average of 346? 1,800 games, and he maintains 346 average. He batted over 300, or over 400, 3 times. Ed Delahanty, Baseball Hall of Fame, best player, 1893. Of course, I've read his book. There's a biography of Ed Delahanty. Solid hitter. Struck out about 400 times in his career and over 7,500 at-bats. Very good contact hitter. He was a power hitter. He had 522 doubles in 1,800 games. He's on pace. Give him 300 games, 3,000 games. So he plays 1,800. If you give him 3,000 games, that's 1,200 more games. How many more doubles would he have had? Well, let's figure it this way. He had 522 doubles in 1,800 games. So he's averaging about 2 doubles a game. Would it say fairly about 1/4 of the time he's getting a double for every game he plays. For every 4 games, he gets a double. 1,200 games times every 4 games. That would have been 480 more doubles. He was on that pace. So 522 and 480, he could have had 1,000 doubles if he played 3,000 games. That's on the pace Ed Delahanty was on. And listen to this. I told you he had 2,597 hits. So let's just round it off. 2,600 hits in 1,800 games. Give him 1,200 more games. So he has 3,000 games. And I told you he was averaging 1.41 hits per game played. 1,200 games times 1.41. 1,200 times 1.41 hits per game. Ed Delahanty was on pace for another 2,500 hits. Add the 2,597 he had for his career and another 2,500. He was on pace for 5,000 career hits if he played 3,000 games. That's how good of a hitter this guy was, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate this. That in the history of baseball, Ed Delahanty could be considered one of the greatest hitters of all time. Along with Ty Cobb, Roger Hornsby, Ted Williams, Babe Ruth. Ed Delahanty is in the top 10 as far as pure hitter of all time. Agree or disagree? And I laid it out with the facts. 1,837 games, 2,597 hits. That's 800 more hits per games played. If he played 1,800 games and had a hit in every game, that's 1,800 hits. But since he had 2,600 hits in 1,800 games, he's averaging 1.41 hits per game. 800 more hits per games played. I don't know. I think it's a really significant stat. And a 346 lifetime batting average. $1894 he batted 405. 1895 he bats 404. And then later in 1899 he bats 410. 400 hit seasons. He had a 397, he had a 377, he had a 376, had a 368 one year. This guy was a hitter. I know I'm ranting and ranting on Ed Delahanty, am I not? Well, I just wanted to point out something that very significant. That for the year 1893, he was the best baseball player. But the following years, he was on a pace. They call him Big Ed during that time. What a player. Ed Delahanty. His career ended shortly. Did you know that he died at the age of 35? He didn't even play. If he plays another 5 years, until he's about 40, or maybe he plays till he's 42, or if he has 3,000 games, he would have had stats right up there. He may have been a 350 lifetime batting average when it was all said and done, and he may have had 5,000 hits after he was done, and he may have had 1,000 doubles before it was done. He wasn't, as far as home runs, he only hit 101, but back then they didn't hit home runs. But this guy was a doubles machine. 522 doubles in 1,837 games. Give him 1,200 more games. He may have had 800, 900, or 1,000 doubles. Ed Delahanty. All right. That's 1893. I just had to rant and rave about this guy because not many people appreciate. I read his book, and that's where I got the impression on this guy. Who was this guy? Ed Delahanty. 1894 will be my next video. Stay tuned. I'm out.